All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Big waves to you, big waves. Good to see you. Come on with it. So, our word for today is promise. Promise. And we've got Miss Andrea Rossers coming in with me today on promise. And tomorrow, Myra Miles will be on. Thursday, we've got a guest. So, the word is promise. And I was a little bit worried when we picked this word. If you think about promise, the definition is a declaration or assurance that one will do a particular thing. How many of you have had a promise broken to you before? I think we could all say we've had that in our life. How many of you's broken a promise before? Either intentionally or unintentionally. I think we could probably all say we have at some point. Lou Holtz said this: don't ever promise more than you can deliver, but always deliver more than you can promise. And I thought about that. Lou Holtz was a great football coach and just a great person. But think about this again. Think about this in retrospect to yourself, like I did. Don't ever promise more than you can deliver, but always deliver more than you promise. And, I think about, Andrea's talked about this before, doing just 1% more can lead to over delivering. Just that little 1% extra effort, right? That note that you could send, that text that you could send, that call that you could give, that smile that you could lend on your face for a minute. All of those things are 1% more that can over deliver in the world we live in. That group Zoom that you do, that getting people together around a round table and just having some interaction. It's all part of that 1% more that can create an over deliver of your promise. Your promise to do what? Your promise to be a good friend. Your promise to be a good spouse. Your promise to be, a good boyfriend, a good girlfriend. Your promise to be a good business partner, just a partner. Like that 1% more can fit into those areas that we all live every day of our life. So under promise and over deliver is really where I went with the word promise. What does that really look like? What does it really look like? Grant Cardone, the 10X rule says that we should all over promise and then over deliver, right? That's kind of his. But mine is still coming in with a promise. And then what can we do? What can Brent Palmer do to over deliver on that promise? Giving more value than what was expected. Think about that. Madeline asked me for something, or Madeline, and I promised to do it, but yet I look for areas to give 1% more where I can over deliver. That's what I'm talking about. I'll give you some examples. Think about this. You tell your daughter you will be at the volleyball game. My daughter happens to be 15 years old and she plays volleyball. And I thought about this. You tell your daughter, Mackenzie, I promise you I'm going to be at your volleyball game today. So you don't break that promise, you show up. But what can you do to over deliver in that promise? How about stand on court and be her biggest fan? Yelling, screaming, acting like a lunatic, clapping. Now, she might not think that's over delivering right now, but later in life, we know she'll think it's over delivering. How about this? Hey, Ronnie, I'm going to get you started in this business with me, okay? I'm going to get you started. And so I get you involved. I sign you up. I get you on board with me. Okay. Well, that was the promise. I'm going to get you started in this business, right? But how can I over deliver? See, to me, the over deliver, the 1% more is getting to know Ronnie, getting to know Ronnie's family, supporting Ronnie, being there for him, breaking bread with him, figuring out why he's doing this and how I can help him get to where he wants to go. That's all the 1% more. Does Ronnie want to make 500 a month, 1,000 a month, 10,000? Like, what does he want to do? All of that getting to know, he says, more. Here's the thing. All of that is that 1% more of over delivering on your promise. See, doing business with Ronnie, it's more than just a system or a process or going, Ronnie, just get you 4. If you just get you 4. Well, that's how to, that will create a result. But how do I over deliver? I get to meet him on a different level and be there and support and work with him. And in 3 or 4 years down the road, we've created a bond. And he goes, I know one thing. He promised me he got me started, but he over delivered when he stuck it out with me through the good times and the tough times. See, I believe the ultimate promise and then over deliver is this community that we're in right here. You all have been an example. You all got involved in this a year and a half ago. And I remember this. We said we were going to do this for a couple of weeks. We said, we'll do this for a couple of weeks through the tough times of COVID. Year and a half later, we're coming in Monday through Friday, sharing a word a day. And I think, man, you all have over delivered on your promise. So thank you for that. Andrew Rosser, I'm going to turn it to you to finish us up.
Well, great message, Coach. Thank you so much for that. And as always, I went in a completely different direction. So I love that. Love how we think so differently. So, I'm missing my first page of notes, but that's okay. We're gonna figure it out. So bear with me. So, okay. So like Coach said, I'm gonna start with a quote. People with good intentions make promises, right? Like none of us make a promise because we don't have good intentions. So people with good intentions make promises. People with good character keep them. And it's unknown. And I'm going to say that every single promise that we make is important. The implied promises, like everybody around me, when I am driving down the road, there is an implied promise that I'm going to stay in my lane and not drive, head on into yours, right? And then there's actual, verbal promises that we make, promises that I make to my boss that I'm going to get my work done, right? Promises that I make to my coworkers that I'm going to carry my own weight and they're not going to have to carry my load. Promise I make to my friends, promises we make to our kids, promises we make to our loved ones, my parents, our siblings, promises we make to our significant others. All of these, every single one of these promises deeply matter. I think they absolutely define our character. But I'm going to say that there's one other promise that I think is even bigger, even more important. And that's the promises that we make to ourselves. And I think those are the promises that define who we are and they define how we live our life. So if we think about, we go through our day, I'm assuming I'm not that different than everybody else, but we make ourselves promises all day long. I'm going to get out of bed on time in the morning. I'm not going to hit the snooze button. I'm going to stop drinking Diet Pepsi. I'm going to let that go. Andrea Rosser, will do my Bible study every single day. I'm not going to miss a single day. I'm going to make those calls for work. I'm going to call 5 new people today. I'm going to exercise 5 times a week. I I will not yell at my children today. Okay. I'm going to stop after that second drink. That one might not be as relatable. Maybe it is, but I'm going to have a couple, but I'm going to stop at 2. I'll strive for that goal. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep striving. I'm going to do that daily self-development. I'll go to bed early, right? And if you're like me, these are the promises that I am most apt to break. If I promise you something, if I say I'm going to be at the airport or I'm going to get something done for you, you can let it go because you know I'm going to keep it. But do I give myself that same comfort to know that if I make a promise to me, I'm going to keep a promise to me? There's a good chance, I admit this, there's a good chance if I tell myself I'm going to get up early and go for a walk in the morning, there's a good chance I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to find a way to make excuses to myself and I'm going to weasel right out of it. But who am I letting down, right? Who am I harming? And I read something today that I thought was so valuable, and I'm bribing the puppy, so bear with me for a second here. Sorry. I read something I thought was so valuable, and it said, if you lose yourself in the needs and wants of others, it's difficult to keep your word to yourself, and you'll be left with long forgotten aspirations, downplayed dreams, and unmet goals. And so that, I mean, that's rough. None of us wants that, right? So how do we keep our own promises? Like, you don't tell me how to keep yours, but how do I keep mine to myself? 1, make sure they're what you really want. Maybe I really want Diet Pepsi. Maybe I do not want to give that up. Maybe that's a goal or a promise that somebody else is putting on me, right? So I can decide, you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm going to let that promise go. 2, prioritize and schedule time for them. So write it down. If I know that my Bible study is important to me, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's actually on my calendar and it's going to remind me, because while it's important, I can let things slide. So write it down and make it a priority. Be accountable. So if I tell, a group of friends that I'm going out with that tonight my limit is 2 drinks, and I tell you, and I'm about to order the 3rd, you can bet that it's not going to happen because we're going to hold each other accountable. 4, break it down into smaller chunks. So if I say I'm going to get healthy this year, break it down into what does that look like, right? What activities am I going to do every single day and make them achievable? 5, track your progress and celebrate those wins. Right? I didn't yell at my kids for 15 minutes today. Fantastic. Let's celebrate that win and let's add 15 more tomorrow. And then lastly, and I think this one's important, is speak my truth. We all have things that are so important to us, our principles, and sometimes we can kind of ignore them in different settings because it's not, it might be a little awkward or it might be uncomfortable, but speak those truths at all times and keep that promise to the things that are really important to you. So thank you so much for letting me jump on here, Coach. I think I was wordy today, but love you guys.
Hey, it was great. No. Great. Love it. Let's go rock this Tuesday. Guys, we appreciate you and we're grateful for you. Have a great one. See you back tomorrow.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks, Andrea. Great job.
Thank you.